Hello everyone, and welcome back to another healthy day. I am Hannah Ray. It is Saturday morning for me. I have not vlogged in a while because I'm trying something new. I mentioned Whole30 to Mike a while ago. He didn't really seem too keen on it. I don't think we were ready to try something like that, so we didn't really talk about it anymore. And then, hilarious, like 3 weeks ago, he's like, hey, have you ever heard of this thing called Whole30? And I was like, we've been doing a Whole30. I think we're on day... What day are we on? So we're on day 10 of our Whole30, so there are 20 days left. And I was a little bit hesitant. I mean, obviously I've talked about like the problem that I have with binge eating and how a ketogenic diet was so restrictive that it kind of turned on all of those like binge things. For me, I was like, I don't know if I should do that. Like, I don't know if that's going to be good for me, like mentally. I don't know if it's going to be good for me physically. Because I don't want to freak out and like eat a bunch of food that I shouldn't eat. In the last time that I vlogged, I talked about gaining a couple of pounds in a week. I think I gained like 3 or 4 because I just lost my mind on food. And the problem was that I was eating, I was like, oh, I don't need to be restricting myself. I need to just eat intuitively. I need to just, you know, do all these things. And I was just eating a bunch of crap. It was like organic stuff, but it was organic crap. So the decision to do Whole30 was an interesting one because I was worried, like I said, that it was gonna turn all of my bingey things on. There's an interesting article like on the Whole30 website. If I can find that again, I will link that down below, talking about like, should people who have eating disorders, eating issues with food, should they complete a Whole30? And I think Melissa Hartwig, who is the co-creator of the Whole30 program, she had some interesting insights. I really got to find that article. So I will find that article and I will link it down below. And it's almost like there's 2 schools of thought. Like if you are going to be... Some people have success with it who have eating disorders and eating problems, and then some people don't. And so it's kind of one of those things where you just have to try it and see what's good for you and what's good for your body. And so far, I'm doing really well. The concept of eating 3 meals a day, I had gotten to the point where I wasn't hungry anymore. Like I never really felt hungry because I was snacking and eating so often throughout the day. And so it was interesting to actually feel hunger again. Like the concept is to eat like 3 meals. They give you guidelines of like how much protein, how many vegetables, and how much good healthy fats to add in. And you've got like these guidelines and you kind of create your plate around that. Good afternoon! We have 17 days left for the Whole30. I am heating up some Whole30 friendly soup, which is made with tomatoes and a can of coconut milk. I would have added some chicken broth if I had it, but I didn't have any bone broth ready. So I put in zucchini, a tiny bit of real potato, not a lot, onion, carrot, celery, oh, and a bunch of pureed squash. I filmed how I like to cook an acorn squash and puree it and then add it into soups. And I filmed that yesterday, so here's a fantastic intro into that. So here's some footage of how I puree some acorn squash so that I can have a thicker soup. This is a cooked and scraped out acorn squash. So I've got the insides of the squash here in my blender. So I'm going to blend that up and turn it into a puree. As you can see, there's a little bit of water here at the bottom of the blender. So now I'm going to turn that on and slowly increase the speed. And when you're finished blending and everything is very smooth, store this in a jar in the fridge or a container and add it to your next soup. While I heat up the soup from last night, I just wanted to check in and talk about Whole30 again for a second. I am quite pleased with how I feel on Whole30. I think earlier in this video I talked about how I was a little bit nervous and that it would affect my like binge eating and my tendency to binge, and it would make me feel like I needed to, but it's really cool because I don't feel like I need to. And the other thing I really like is that I don't feel like I'm using food for comfort recently, which is really nice. Well, hello there, mister. Do you feel like you've been our little guard dog? Do you feel good about it? Yeah?
Thank you for protecting us.
So I wanted to close out this week's video. My cravings seem pretty much under control except for the dream I had last night about demolishing a bag of chips. It was like, yeah, anyway, I woke up, I was like, oh, guess that's what's on my mind. I definitely am getting tired of cooking all the time. I'm cooking things in big batches, which helps a lot, but like at night I've just been kind of annoyed with having to cook dinner again every single night. So anyway, that's just a personal thing. I think I'll get over it. Today I'm gonna cook a bunch of squash and a bunch of squash and sweet potatoes and cook some meat of some kind to keep in the refrigerator so that we can have easy, fast breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Alright you guys, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you super duper like it, you could subscribe. That would be awesome. I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and I will see you next time. Bye!